Recording. All right. So we're recording. This is our week 6 of the Agile Online Summit coaching. So Mariko, is that, am I saying it right? Is it Mariko?
It's like an S sound at the end, so it's Mauricio.
Mauricio.
Yeah.
Excellent. Mauricio.
Mhm.
Mauricio, thanks for joining us. First off, why don't you just kick us off and tell us just a little bit about yourself, and
Okay.
feel free to share a little too. So we were talking before here about Costa Rica. So
Right.
Mauricio is from Costa Rica. So tell us a little bit about that too. But that's really neat. I'm
Awesome.
in cold Pennsylvania, so I'm thinking warm thoughts of Costa Rica.
You're in the right place, mental wise. But
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you for having me. My name is Mauricio Robles. Would be the last name. I was born and raised in Costa Rica. Um, I was so I was explaining, Tom. There's a lot of beautiful places. The country is famous for its tourism, and the easygoing type of thing, the easygoing people. We have a saying which is pura vida, which is called pure life, which pretty much you're gonna hear it to say thank you, to say bye, to say hi. It's something. It's a phrase that we use all over the place, but it pretty much encapsulates the philosophy of the country, which is just enjoying life.
Yeah.
And so that's how that's how we pretty much do things around here. But yeah, so professionally, I've been doing well. I got into Agile about 6 years ago. It something that landed on me kind of. So it's interesting because I've always been looking for a thing, like this activity where I can use. I've always been aware that that I empathize really well with people. I read people really well, and people, I gain trust from people quite easily.
Mhm.
And sometimes people actually tell me things that they shouldn't, and without knowing. So what I've been trying to figure it out all along until that point is how can I put that to use? How can I actually get that going? And so when I was introduced to I was introduced first to Scrum. It was landed on the company, and the CEO said, "So I read this amazing book on Scrum, and we're going to do this." And so he did the most responsible thing, which is putting a YouTube video of 7 minutes and saying, "Okay, you got it, go for it," right? So and then he said like, "Okay, eventually he actually uh, took the role of Scrum Master for the whole team. So it wasn't a big company. It was about 150 people with about 10 teams at that time between customer service. We have marketing, graphic design, web design. We have IT development. So we have people doing, all over the place, different things. And he realized quickly that he wasn't going to be able to take on all that. So he said, "Oh, I need someone to do it." I was actually not feeling very happy with the job that I was doing at the moment. And I said, "So I need someone to help me out with this Scrum Master thing." And I Googled it, and I said, "Oh, this is the thing for me." Because I was always the person, I've been the person at the company that people go to solve a problem. So this is not moving forward. These people are not responding, or we need to coordinate this. So I was able to step up and be that, that link, or get that information and actually work through the system to get things done. So it felt like a good fit for me. So from there, I started the Scrum Master. Eventually we noticed there were you know actually 10 plus teams that had their own thing. So I said, so we need a Scrum Master for each team. So before I knew, I was actually helping about 10 teams with their own Scrum Master, product owner, and everything. And that's when I realized I need to learn something more to help all these people, right? So I started looking into Agile coaching, and then that's pretty much what got me into where I am. Now I've changed a couple of companies since then, and learned a bunch of stuff, and realize that there's a bunch more that I need to learn still.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
So Sakib,
Yeah,
thanks for joining us.
of
What
course.
questions do you have for Mauricio?
So like you mentioned, you started as a Scrum Master. What was the journey like? What's the difference? Uh, the whole term for Agile coach and Scrum Master. I get job descriptions sometimes saying that, oh, we need an Agile coach. So I'll talk to a recruiter, and they're gonna talk about just a Scrum Master position. So it
and
gets the translation is so weird. But if you are kind of going towards a true Scrum Master position, uh, uh, I'm I got hired as an Agile coach where I'm working as, but as I'm working, Yes, I do a bit of coaching. I'm working with other teams that hasn't been following agile methodology. Yes, I'm trying to help them out, but
Mhm.
I'm still doing more Scrum Master, day-to-day roles, right? So, what's the difference?
hmm and yeah, it's actually a great question, and oftenly unanswered. Now, actually, both roles overlap at some point. You know, they so the Scrum Master needs to have those coaching skills to help their teams, to help the Scrum Master. As you know, the Scrum Master is going to look in three. He's going to have three focuses. He's going to focus towards the team, helping them move forward and work without impediments. Going to focus towards the product owner, helping him or her with the backlog, with all the refinement and getting all the best value out of the backlog and making sure it's on top. And then he has a third focus towards the organization. All of these are going to require some skills of coaching for him to be able to communicate and get people to work with him and with the team. The difference for me for me personally, came when I realized that I was helping 10 other teams, and each one of those teams had their own scrum master. So I didn't have to get involved in the day to day with the team, helping them going through the retrospectives, the stand ups, and the planning and all that. I was actually more on a, I want to say, like, strategy point of view, helping them implement agility, implement Scrum the way it should be, and coaching them. So that requires a little bit more coaching. It's going to be more focused, more coaching focused. Again, you're going to have different stances. At some point, you're going to be a teacher. At some point, you're going to be a mentor, and you're going to be changing hats. As a coaching. So the key thing that made me realize that I was becoming more of an agile coach was that I wasn't involved with each one of those teams as their scrum master. I was helping them implement it. I was coaching those scrum masters actually to help those teams. So it's a matter of scaling. And just one more point, as I've been working on the certified team coach certification from the Scrum Alliance, and they do make that difference when you are doing the application. It gets more clear on what are those tasks and what's the role of the Scrum Master, even if you have several teams, and what's the point of view from an agile coach.
Right. And as you mentioned, then you're not getting, at the end of the day, Scrum Master, project manager, you're a delivery manager. You're delivering something. Somehow you're helping your team to deliver something, stay on track. So the delivery is the end goal. And your task is around those delivery aspect, making sure that it's being done right. From an agile coach, what's your day-to-day task like?
hmm
What's your the meetings I'm going in right now? It's more like, okay, I need to get this project done. Has it been scoped? Is everything, all this, do we have the backlog? But when you're talking about agile coach, what is your day-to-day task
Right.
looks like?
So ideally, you're gonna have a lot of one-on-one coaching sessions, right? Like a good part of your day is gonna be coaching sessions. That's sitting with each one of the Scrum Masters in the company and helping them on their growth, helping them find their own, their own journey, to call it like that. So that's gonna be part of it. Um, if, like, for instance, in my case, well, there's going to be another big part of you as a coach working with the whole team. So there's going to be a bunch of work, because you're an agile coach, so you're going to help them implement agility in any way, or in any shape that they are doing it, because you're going to be in a company that could be implementing Scrum. Like, for instance, in my case, I have some teams working on Scrum, I have some teams working on Kanban, because some of them are more project oriented and other ones are more operational oriented. So I try to manage both frameworks. You may be in a company that is doing safe or less, or any other framework. So your role is going to be implementing and helping them move or navigate through all the in and out, in and out. So it's going to be part on one-on-one sessions, and people actually, if you're doing a good job, I want to say, people are going to come to you and say, I need help with something. And so you're going to be working on one-on-one sessions with Scrum Masters and one-on-one sessions with the team leads, technical leads, because some of the work as a coach is going to be coaching those leads to develop their own teams, to develop their people. So that's going to be a big focus as well. And then you're also going to be working with the whole system. You're going to be working with the whole team, so that they know how to, at first you're going to be teaching them on doing retrospectives, stand-ups, and all that. And then you're going to be little by little taking a step back as they own those events, or those ceremonies or those meetings. You're going to be able to build enough trust so that that they can take it. Their Scrum Master can take it from there. For instance, like when I started working at the company that I'm right now, it's a big company. It's about 5,000 people. It has offices worldwide, and I was brought into the operations domain, particularly working with the financial operation teams. And these are teams that are pretty much, they do this, it's digitized documents. They type down bill after bill after bill. So and so my work was it had like a progression. So I have a framework, if you want to call it that, a model, where I get in, I assess the team. And that assessment is going to be me observing what they're doing, even if they are not doing a thing about Agile. I get in, and I observe what they're doing, and I bring up an assessment that I build for operations, and they answer it like a quick questionnaire. So they answer it. That assessment is going to help me to project back to the team what they can work on. So it's going to be like a score. So that assessment gives me a result on three main lean areas, and I use lean here because of the operation aspect of it. I think it's more appropriate. And then or I also, I'm based on the 5 values of Scrum, and I said, okay, this is the 5 values. This is how you score on each one of them based on your own answers. I'm not giving you, I'm not putting you a score or anything. It's just your own answers. What would you like to work on? And say, okay, we want to work in openness. Okay, great. So let's start figuring out, what do you need to improve here, or how can you make this better. And so that's at that point I become, I get into the hat of a teacher. So it's teaching them, it's showing them the best techniques, the best, how can they address that value and make it better. And as I teach them and they start doing it their own, themselves, I I can start wearing the coaching hat, and I said, okay, I'm going to take a step back, and you're going to take it from here. And when I know that they're there, I assess one more time. And this usually has a time box, right? Like 3 months. I usually do it in quarters, and and this is okay. From now on, you can. I assess them one more time, because when I did the first assessment and we review all those things, we set up a goal. We say, okay, what do we want to improve, and how much do we want to improve this number that we got? And so at the end, we see if that gave us the result that we were expecting. And if they improve in that area, I said, okay, now you can take it from here. I'm going to be your mentor, meaning that I'm just going to be around. If you need help, look me up. I'm going to focus on another team, because this domain, particular financial operation, has 34 teams. So I need to move quickly. And then and so and that's pretty much the whole progression. When I know, or that they are mature enough, I can let them go and take the other team. And that fills up the day. Now, if you put on top of that I also need to coordinate with the leadership, that it's, they want results on my work, and they want to see how the teams are progressing and maturing, and they get me involved in their strategy. And so this is where we're going to go, because I need to have visibility on how those goals from the leadership are being communicated to
Right.
everyone of the team. Hmm.
And oftentimes the whole role, when companies trying to become agile, right? So the term between the responsibilities, I must say, agile coach versus a company who wants to implement agile.
Hmm.
So that's not going to be agile coach. It wouldn't be agile coach's responsibility to implement agile in an organization. Then how is the role changing? Because now you're not teaching anybody, you're not you're not mentoring any team, but you're trying to change the process, how company works. You're implementing
Right.
agile within a company.
So it doesn't exclude working with the teams, and it depends. And that's an answer you're going to hear a lot from coaches. It depends on
Yes.
on the context. So how big is this company, right? For instance, in the company that I started with, it was about 150 people, and one coach I think has the capacity to help them move forward if they all have their own scrum masters and you can have enough support. If you're going to go into a domain that has 500 people, for instance, or more, then yes. Like for instance, when I started working at this company, at the one that I am running, the big one, I was called into a COE, like Center of Excellence of Coaches. So I was working with other five coaches actually at the moment, and we all had our own teams. Um, some of the coaches were focused on the leadership because you do need to coach that leadership. They may want to implement Agile, but they don't know pretty much what they're doing, and they don't know really well how to communicate that to everyone else. And so you need to help them get that message across, especially on why they want to implement Agile, and that's something that is going to help the implementation move forward. And then there are going to be other coaches helping, coaching down. So you're going to be coaching up and coaching down. Uh-huh.
And also the thing is that when any company wants to move in the agile space, right, the biggest thing I feel like gets not communicated well, how the uh, leadership, like how the middle management or everybody's role changes. And in an agile world, the typical product owner versus BA, every different person. Now when you bring agile, the silo is being broken down. Everybody has a different role. I think
Oh
roles and
yes,
responsibility changes, right?
right.
I feel like that is one of the biggest challenge, that doesn't get communicated well
Yeah.
enough, or they don't even identify those roles and responsibilities, and so there's always a mess.
So there are two different ways I think that you can implement agility in a company. You can start small with one team, run an experiment, and see how it goes. That is gonna it has its advantages. One of the advantages that I have seen is that it's going to allow you, it's going to be less risky. So you're going to be able to fail, and it's not going to be a big failure. It's just going to be one team doing experiments and getting better. And as you get that team going, you're going to be able to start scaling it and getting more teams on it. So that's not going to be as dramatic. And yes, you're going to start breaking teams little by little and joining them and getting the best fit, and that is going to affect some of the leadership. The way they did it where I'm at right now, it was done by the time I got there. But what they did is that they did a big bang implementation, right? So they said everyone is going agile now. So what they did is they took all those, all that structure. There were a bunch of VPs that they said they're not going to be, because there were VPs, vice presidents with no teams under them. They were just, it was a weird, yeah, it was a weird layer of people that they had the title and they felt good about it, but they were really adding any value as they were, yeah. And so um, they get rid of those. So they started flattening the structure a little bit right there, and then they restructure on the team level and the supervising or manager level. They started restructuring, um,
So the
breaking.
org structure completely changed.
It did change. Yeah, it changed. Not to a place where you get rid of all that middle management. That's still there, but they did restructure, and then they moved some teams around, and they had to let go of some people. So that but that's far more dramatic. You're gonna have a lot. It's really really hard to manage that because you want to do that in a way that you don't cause panic, or everyone just being nervous about it, because it's going to take a while. It's going to take a few weeks for you to get there, and throughout those few weeks, people are going to be waiting for the letter from HR.
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, so you're going to prepare people. They're going to be, so you can run a bunch of trainings, but like that you can do in bulk, so you can have 30 people in a room, do a bunch of trainings, explaining them what's going to happen, how it's going to look, what are the changes that are going to be there, and then be mindful that if you're going to break teams down, what's going to happen to the people that are going to be there, laying around there.
Yeah, and in the agile, I'm forgetting the term, the train, right? Agile train.
Uh-huh.
Release
The
train.
whole, pardon?
Did you say you want release train? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Like
the
in
release
safe?
train.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and I feel like from the release train, the big when we look at that, one of the very crucial part is the RTE, right? Release train engineer. I
Okay.
have not, to be honest. I've worked with, I do consulting with other companies. I move around every year and a half or something. I haven't seen that structure. When I talk to companies about, do you guys want to have that PI and stuff? They're like, no. But I feel like that's such an important part because every Scrum Master, different teams are working. I'm working on project ABC. Somebody is working on G, F, and Y. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, we have the goal to, this is our strategic goal as a business. This is where we want to go. But we have so many dependencies, right? Who's guiding
Yeah.
all those people to move forward towards the one goal, and they're not talking to each other, right? I feel like
Yes.
that's one of the biggest challenge, but none of the companies these days.
So it depends on the type of framework that the company is using to scale, Agile. Release train, you're going to find it everywhere in Safe, for instance, is very embedded in that system and it has a place there. So if the company is using Safe, it's going to have the release train and everyone is going to say, oh, Safe sucks. But it depends. We was just talking yesterday and the thing with Safe is that, so it's like this it looks like a Lego that put together a bunch of different systems. Scrum's there, Kanban's there, and so it has a bunch of different elements that are there that if you implement it to the good, it's going to work fantastic. But it has a lot of traps. I'm going to call it. It has a lot of traps where people can run free with their command and control. However, there are other frameworks like Scrum Scale, for instance, and that you're going to have the chief Scrum Master and the chief product owner, and they're going to have the role of getting people to talk to each other and making sure that one single line. Now, and before we move on, there's another option, even which is automating that pipeline, and if you get if you automate that pipeline, people are going to be just uploading features automatically all day and things are going to be you're still going to need someone to coordinate but things are going to move you probably won't need the release train.
See, and that's something I don't really have like an in-depth knowledge about safe. I understand the concept, but I haven't really got into it, and
Okay.
I haven't worked in safe environment. So, like, listen, whenever we listen to so many methodology and stuff, so what's the vast difference? It gets like confusing. What I'm doing in Scrum versus Safe, Safe 5.0.
Right, so yeah, I'm not uh, I'm not certified or proficient in safe. I read about it. I haven't been in safe implementation actually. But for what I've read it, so I pretty much have the theoretical knowledge of Safe. I do have the practical knowledge of Scrum, and what I've seen is that Scrum is far more light for you to implement. And if you go for, but Scrum is just one team, right? So if you go for Scrum at scale, it kept that lightness, and it's very organic as you see it grow because you're gonna be breaking down. So Scrum at scale suggests that you go in teams of 5 at the most. They actually lowered the number of people in each team, and then you start scaling it in 5. And so when you get 5 teams, you're going to have a scrum, a chief scrum master and a chief product owner, and you're going to have those units. But those units are going to be easily to couple together, and so I feel that that is very organic. The thing I was actually just yesterday having a conversation. We had a quickly talk about safe, and someone that was more knowledgeable on the matter said that in safe 5.0, I haven't seen it. They descale it a little bit. They scale it, and so maybe they made it lighter. I still need to look into it.
Okay, and because from a certification standpoint, I have just a regular Scrum Master certification. I think I've had this conversation before, but I'm just torn between I want to go towards more implementing Agile from an enterprise level or
Mhm.
Agile from that aspect, coaching, kind of both, but more of an implementation level. I like looking at so many certification. I just don't know which one to go for. Like,
Right.
shall
Which page, which organization do you have your certification with?
I think Scrum Alliance.
Okay, so me too. That's where I've been getting my certifications from, and the Scrum Alliance actually, if you go into the website and look for the path that they have a clear path from Scrum Master to what it's called Certified Enterprise Coach. So that so you have and there are some steps, of course, in the middle. So you have the Scrum Master, then you go for the Advanced Scrum Master, and then there is the CSP, what they used to call it. They broke it down, and there's a Certified Scrum Specialist, a Scrum Practitioner, for the Scrum Master. So that's the third one. And then you get to either be a certified team coach or a certified enterprise coach. Each one of them has their own, requirements and the time. But so that's actually the route that I'm taking. That's the path that I'm following right now.
And in terms of this values for these certifications, right? Is there, like, if I'm going with Scrum versus Safe, is there, like, just being in the job market, or what's being implemented out there? Is there a massive difference?
So I honestly don't have the numbers of who gets hired the most,
No,
of
in
which
general, like,
certification it's. But in general, so I can tell you that I know more people with Scrum Alliance certifications and coaching certifications from Scrum Alliance. But you can also, yeah, and I don't know what's the like cost for the safe ones. I know the safe has their safe coach and the safe trainers, but I don't know how
okay.
Are
yeah.
you interested in that, Sakib, in SAFE certification, or?
Uh, uh, I don't have any preference. It's just moving forward. If I'm uh, committing myself to the certification, I want to make sure that I'm kind of going the right path. I listen to podcasts on
Mhm.
Agile, and someone will just chat rubbish about
Yeah, safe.
Safe, or
Safe.
somebody will
Yeah,
just chat rubbish about a Scrum. So it's,
yeah.
and you're in the middle. You're like, which one? What's
The
happening
thing,
here?
the thing is, if you want to get to a enterprise level or organizational level, one will not deny the other, and it's not that much. It's not all about certifications. I mean, it's good to have them because it's going to give you a path and it's going to give you learning objectives that you can follow. It's going to give you structure. That's what it works for me. What I appreciate about certifications is the structure that I can follow as I grow, right? But all those things that you learn along the way, those are the things that are going to make you a good coach. So you're going to need to know about Safe, and you're going to need to know about Kanban, you're going to need to know about Scrum and XP and all those things, because you're going to you're going to be working with different organizations that are implementing different things. You're going to need to know about LESS, Scrum Scale, and Nexus, all those things. You're going to, need to learn about those. So you can follow the path with the Scrum Alliance and still keep learning about Safe and also get the certification with Safe. It's pricey, but you can get there. I mean, as you grow,
Right,
you're going to be able to get them.
right. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the
Excellent.
input.
Sure.
Mauricio, I know we're kind of at our time box here. We just thank you so much for sharing a little extra time with us and sharing all
Not a
this,
problem.
answering questions.
No, I really enjoyed. Thanks, Aki, for all the great questions. And don't know if there's any last question that you guys would like answered.
Oh,
No,
thanks
we're
for
good.
all the inputs you've provided.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Oh, more than welcome.
Thank you so much. I will
All
get
right.
this posted and appreciate your time, Mauricio, and talk to you later,
Thanks
Sakib.
for having me.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye
Cheers.
bye.